Oil exploration is set to begin in Lake Malawi. What are the implications of this? Timveni TV caught up with Godfrey Mfiti, an environmental activist, to give us some insight. Safe to say that there are a lot still a mystery over this oil exploration. What is next? Is Malawi ready for this? Should this exploration go ahead?
My name is Godfrey Mfiti. I'm an environmental activist in Malawi, currently opposing the government plans to drill oil in Lake Malawi. Behind me is a beautiful lake, the Lake Malawi, one of the freshwater lakes in the Africa Great Lakes region, which is full of biodiversity. Very rich in cichlids. We have about over 1,000 species of cichlids in the lake, whereby 300 of them are unique to Lake Malawi. This lake is very important to the people of Malawi, such that they do benefit in terms of livelihoods, tourism, recreation, agriculture. It also provides a source of drinking water to major populations in this country. This lake is currently under threat of oil exploration and drilling, as the government of Malawi, since 2011, has been awarding oil licenses to foreign oil companies who are on the verge of drilling. As currently they're exploring oil, they'll be drilling oil in this lake. And this is a threat to the people of Malawi and to the rich biodiversity that is in this lake. Oil drilling in Lake Malawi is a threat to the people of Malawi. And I am one of the environmental activists who have stood out to oppose this process. This is because Lake Malawi is very unique compared to any other lakes in the world. This is a Rift Valley lake. And for your own information, this is the very first time in the world when the oil drilling process is about to take place in a freshwater lake. So for us as environmental activists, we feel this is very experimental for us to start drilling oil in Lake Malawi. On the same spot, it should be known that oil exploration and oil drilling in Lake Malawi is not a sustainable economic development. Economists and other stakeholders have had questions on the issue of drilling oil in Lake Malawi. Is it sustainable? Is it economically sustainable? Now, there are unaccounted benefits of this lake to the people of Malawi. We have so far about 2 million people whose livelihood depends on this lake. They live along the lake shore. We have fishermen. We have tourism industry depending on this lake. Now, this oil drilling venture will actually affect the welfare of these 2 million people who directly depend on this lake. Now, we are saying that there are unaccounted economic benefits of this lake. On the same spot, the rich biodiversity that is in Lake Malawi is irrepressible. You cannot repress it. Once it has been destroyed, it will not be repressed. So there is a major threat of actual drilling of oil, because oil drilling results into some environmental catastrophes, such as oil spillages and pollution that normally is accompanied with oil drilling. Now, a country like Malawi is in a situation whereby we do not have the guiding principles in terms of oil drilling. We are in a country whereby we do not have the required instruments to guide the process. We also, from 2011 to 2014, how the oil licenses were awarded to companies, they were dubiously done. There were no proper procedures that were followed. Now, this is a threat to the process because the investors will not be liable for any damages they cause to the lake. So until then, our government must tell us how they are going to achieve environmental compliance to environmental standards. Do our investors know the procedures on how they can comply to environmental standards? We are the only country so far which is allowing the drilling process of oil in a freshwater lake, the only lake that we have, the major lake that provides a lot to this country, to continue drilling oil without having proper legislations. We are using the Petroleum Production and Exploration Act of 1981. This act is outdated. It's archaic. This is the major instrument that we are using in the drilling of oil in Lake Malawi, which is a threat to Lake Malawi. At the same time, it should be brought to the attention of each and everyone that Lake Malawi is also a World Heritage Site. It's got outstanding universal values. The appearance of the secrets that we have in this lake, they do occur through rare evolutionary processes, such that the actual exploration of oil in this lake has led to losses of capture fisheries, because some of the fishes are now not appearing. We have seen some developments in this country, such as agriculture, sedimentation from the gardens into the lake has led to the reduction, the dwindling availability of the cichlids species of fish. Now, there is a threat that the oil exploration that has been taking place, it involves production of sound. This sound, when it is sent down to the bottom of the lake, when they're doing oil exploration, when the sound gets back to the bottom of the lake, they assess the availability of the oil through the echo of the sound when it comes back. Now, this threatens the availability of the secrets because they appear through rare evolutionary processes, which are known as outstanding universal values of this lake. And this is the only lake which forms part of the only 15% of freshwater lakes in this world. Now, are we ready to trade off this precious asset that we have in this country? Are we ready to lose out this lake? Are we ready to lose out this lake as a source of drinking water? Because currently there are major developments in Malawi whereby the Central Region Water Board is tapping drinking water from the very same lake. We have a situation whereby the Lilongwe Water Board is doing feasibility studies. They would like to start tapping water for drinking and domestic use for the residents of Lilongwe from this very same lake. The process of drilling oil in Lake Malawi is using a Petroleum Production Act of 1981, which was reviewed in 1983. This law is very outdated comparing to the situation that we are in Africa in particular. Malawi is also a member of the Africa Mining Vision. This act is not in tandem with the instruments of accountability and transparency. This is because this act was developed during the time of dictatorship. It is undemocratic. It doesn't fit in with the democratic the democratic transition that we are in. Now we are saying until the Malawi government reviews this act, it would open up for people to contribute to the process of drilling and exploring oil in this country. Lake Malawi is going to be affected negatively because the issues that have to be consulted to the people are not being consulted. We have seen the process whereby the local people do not even know, they are not aware of this oil drilling process. The act encourages more secrecy surrounding the issues to do with oil and gas drilling in Lake Malawi. In particular, there are some of the most important issues that we have to mention here. That the act empowers the oil companies to release information to individuals or withhold information to individuals. This is not in tandem with the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, of which Malawi is a member. The Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative encourages that oil companies should declare payments that they have made to governments or individuals in terms of the oil drilling prospects in any country. Now, since this act, the Petroleum Production Act, Exploration and Production Act of 1983, it does not give a room for this kind of transparency and accountability. It gives one person, the minister, responsible, more powers. Actually, it starts with the preamble starts by saying that the whole land and water belongs to the head of state, to the president, to the life president. Now, we are saying that we need contributions from members of the society because this act infringes on the environmental rights of the people of Malawi. Now, we believe that environmental rights are human rights. And without a proper legislation, without a Petroleum Production Act in this country, without a petroleum production policy in this country, there is no way the oil and gas drilling in Malawi will be transparent. So far, we have seen the dubious awarding of contracts. We have seen government lifting the ban on oil and gas exploration in Lake Malawi without giving a proper explanation, without actually telling us how they have addressed the problems that led to this ban. We have seen this process whereby money has been paid, let's say from RAC gas to a government department account in the Department of Mines through the account at the Reserve Bank of Malawi, amounting to $235,700 US, which was paid by RAC gas. However, we do not know what was the money for. And the government has not been there open enough to explain how they have used this money. So we are saying we do not have the laws in this country to guide this process. This is because issues like this will not be addressed. The citizens of the Republic will not have a chance to go and ask. Now, the other thing is the production sharing agreements. So far, we have seen a process whereby the petroleum production sharing agreements have remained secretive. We do not know how much the ordinary citizens of Malawi are going to benefit from the oil deals in this country. This is very absurd. This is very bad for the people of Malawi. Now, until now, we still say no to oil drilling in Lake Malawi because of the possible negative environmental consequences that are going to happen and the public health hazards. Because there has not been proper mechanism on how the government of Malawi and the oil companies are going to address or enforce environmental standards compliance. We need investors to comply to environmental standards. These are the same investors who in their countries, they do comply to environmental standards. But when they come here, they are failing to comply to environmental standards. We have an issue. We have an example of what happened with part in Africa along Lake Malawi, in the north of Lake Malawi, at the Kairekera uranium mine. This is a very good example that should draw a lesson for Malawians. That if companies like this are failing to comply to environmental standards, now oil drilling in Lake Malawi is a threat to the biodiversity. It can lead to oil spilling. Now, the climate and temperature of Malawi are different from any other lakes in elsewhere else in the world. In other countries, These are the countries whereby the temperatures sometimes reach below 0 degrees Celsius, meaning to say that the water normally freezes. Now it's quite very different from here. When such kind of a spillage occurs in a fresh water like this one, the spillage would be easily spread over a wide area because of the temperature of this country and the water type that we have. This is the fresh water that we have. So these are the threats that we still have in this country. Now, there is another question that we still have. What are the safety nets for our people? We have Lake Malawi as the major source of drinking water, as a major source of livelihood, as a major source of capture fisheries, as a major source of tourism, as a main source of water for agriculture. Where are the safety nets? What measures are going to be put in place in case an oil spillage happens in this lake? Where are the safety nets? Where are people going to drink water? Where are going to get sickness type of fish? These are the questions. What safety measures are going to be put in there? Where are the safety nets? So the government of Malawi must put safety nets. They must put measures in place. So we still say no to oil drilling in Lake Malawi because Lake Malawi has been divided into 3 oil blocks, in the north, at the center, and here in the south. So the whole Lake Malawi is prone to oil drilling should the oil be found in this lake. So this is the major threat to the people of Malawi as a whole. In Malawi, we have got one major problem, whereby people and government have only looked at oil drilling in Lake Malawi on the economic side of it, without looking at the possible negative environmental consequences and without putting the safety nets and safety measures for our people. We have seen a process whereby the local leaders have only been told about the oil prospects in Lake Malawi. They have not been told that this process of oil drilling and oil exploration in Lake Malawi has got some threats to their own lives, some threats to their own livelihood. For instance, you'll find out that one fishing village, a fishing community, depends entirely on the source of fisheries from this lake. Now, let's say one fishing village supporting about 18,000 people. Imagine all these people at one point in time losing the sources of fish. It should be noted that in the process of drilling oil, there is wastewater that is often too salty, that is produced together when you are drilling oil. There are other chemicals and substances that are found in oil, such as benzene and others, which are very dangerous and detrimental to a freshwater lake like this one. Because this lake is fresh, it's not salty. Now, this is a major threat. Now, should the government of Malawi want to proceed with oil drilling in Lake Malawi, they must come out in the open. We need environmental education in this country. Our people need to know the possible negative consequences of this oil drilling process. They have a right to know, a right to information, a right to access information, so that they can make informed decisions. They have a right to resist the oil drilling process. Now, until our government comes out in the open and civically educate the people of Malawi on the possible negative public health hazards that are accompanied with oil drilling in a freshwater like this, that's when the people of Malawi can make an informed decision. So we're still waiting for the Ministry of Natural Resources to give us information on how they are going to proceed. The people of Malawi also needs to know if they trade off their lake, what is their stake? What is their benefit from this lake? Now, government of Malawi have not made petrol production sharing agreements public. Are they public documents? Can I go to the Department of Mines and Natural Resources and view production sharing agreements? Are they available online for the people of Malawi to see? Now, the government of Malawi must tell us, when are they reviewing the Petroleum Production and Exploration Act of 1983? because this act is archaic, it's outdated, it's not suitable for a big venture like this one. So we tend to wonder if indeed oil drilling in Lake Malawi is going to bring money in this country, is going to bring in forex to the government of Malawi. Why are they not being transparent? Who is actually benefiting from this process? Are they doing it to the interest of the people of Malawi? Are they doing it to the interest of few individuals? This is very questionable. We need to know, we need to understand the process, that this is a government process, and the administrators of government do come in and go. Now, they must make sure that each and everything they are doing in terms of sustainable economic development in this country, it must be available in the public domain. The people of Malawi must know. They must know their stake. They must know how Malawians are going to benefit from oil drills. Now, if they cannot do that, we don't think our government is more transparent enough. Now, this is against the tenets of democracy, because democracy demands transparency and accountability for the people to make informed decisions. Now, we have got examples in this country, in other mining sectors, whereby companies are using child labor, whereby companies are failing to comply to environmental standards. Now, should we give them a chance to start drilling oil in a freshwater like this? Are they going to comply to environmental standards? We have seen the behavior of multinational corporations, multinational companies who are scrambling for resources in Africa in the name of investment. Now, what they are doing actually, they are not taking care of the environment. Mostly they are driven by profits and greed. They actually grease the few politicians who tend to benefit quite a lot in terms of what are known as signature bonuses. We are a country which is failing to treasure its own resources. Now, there are a few individuals who have got the power to influence decisions, to influence investors. Now, we need this process to be more transparent and accountable. Now, the first thing would be to review the laws so that we know how much these companies are paying to these individuals and to our government. Now, at the same time, if we are not treasuring our own natural resources, we will be a country in the future who will have failed to conserve the natural resources for the next generation. Because Lake Malawi has got outstanding universal values. And by continuing to drill oil in this freshwater lake, Malawi is bound to be blacklisted by the World Heritage Site. Because Malawi ratified the World Heritage Convention in 1984. The World Heritage Convention promotes conservation of natural resources, which have the natural resources which are very unique. Because Lake Malawi, as it is, being unique, has got secrets, over 1,000 species of cichlids, which cannot appear, which are not appearing anywhere else. As such, it must maintain these outstanding universal values. So we will see the process whereby the world is against Lake Malawi continuing with the process of drilling oil in its freshwater lake, which is a World Heritage Site. At the same time, the people themselves, the people of Malawi, they are bound to experience a natural disaster when the oil drilling in Lake Malawi starts. They are bound to experience a disaster. However, their own government has not put any plan on how to mitigate these kind of disasters in terms of oil spillages and pollution. We have seen a process whereby some of the policies which would have helped in the conservation, in building up these safety nets, like the fisheries policy, the draft fisheries policy of 2012 to 2017, was abandoned. However, if you look at such kind of a policy, you would appreciate the political will to promote availability of fish species through fish farming. Now, these are some of the problems that we have with the country, whereby we are proceeding with the drilling of oil in Lake Malawi without having these contingency measures in place. Now, in Malawi government as well, there are departments within the government of Malawi, in the Department of Culture, the Department of Fisheries, the Department of Tourism, the Department of Information, and many other departments who, Parks and Wildlife, who have been pro-vocal and against this process of oil drilling, such that from 2013 they wrote a cabinet paper to the government of Malawi, which they finally submitted in somewhere around 2015. Now, there are issues that this Lake Malawi, can benefit the people of Malawi through tourism. Malawi is failing to supply fish as a source of protein to its people. We're failing to meet the World Health Organization standards in terms of consumption of protein. However, fisheries contribute a lot to the sources of protein in this country. Now, with this threat of oil drilling in Lake Malawi, we expect the number of fisheries, the number of fish to drop. As such, even the consumption of protein is going to further drop. Because Malawians are very poor, they cannot afford other sources of protein like meat on the market. Now, this is a threat to the people of Malawi. Now, these are also some of the unaccounted benefits of this particular freshwater lake. We have seen other countries like Seychelles and Mauritius who have been benefiting from tourism, such that their GDP is mainly earned from tourism. Now, in 2013 alone, countries of Zimbabwe and Zambia made about $10 million from the Victoria Falls through tourism. Now, Malawi is one of those countries which is failing to develop the tourism industry to the standards that it can contribute a lot to its GDP. At the same time, it should be noted that the water from this Lake Malawi is the one which is also consumed by the people in the south, the people in Blantyre, because this water flows into the Shire River, whereby it is there which is now pumped and taken for drinking for the residents of the Blantyre city. Now, it is unfortunate that we are risking this only source of fresh water for an experimental process of oil drilling that we are not sure of even the value of the oil that we have underneath the waters of Lake Malawi. However, there is also no plan in terms of addressing any other problems that might be accompanied by this. Malawi is a country has been agro-based ever since independence, such that there have been plans recently by one of the former heads of state, late Professor Dr. Bingwa Mtalika, to develop the agricultural sector through a Green Belt initiative, whereby the planned use of water from this lake has been the most important issue in order to promote agricultural development, whereby the water from this lake is supposed to be used for irrigation. Now, it becomes questionable when the same government is proceeding with other ideas of drilling oil in the same lake, because this same water is the one which is supposed to be used for irrigation purposes. Would an oil-infested water be suitable for irrigation? Will an oil-spilled water be suitable for drinking, for consumption, for residents of Salima, residents of Lilongwe, residents of Blantyre, across the nation? Will we be able to drink water smelling crude oil? This is very questionable. So there is a need to put our strategies and our priorities in the proper order, than putting our priorities upside down. This is very unfortunate for our government. So we expect that the government of Malawi is going to make a credible decision by withdrawing the oil drilling in Lake Malawi because of these possible consequences that are going to happen. We would like the government of Malawi to tell the people of Malawi on what plans are there if they are to proceed with oil drilling in Lake Malawi. Until now, we still say no to oil drilling in Lake Malawi because it infringes on human rights. We believe that environmental rights are human rights. We believe that the right to air, the right to food, the right to shelter, the right to water forms part of the fundamental human rights for an individual to exist. Now we will see a process whereby the Lake Malawi is about to be polluted, this coming disaster, where the lake is about to be polluted, where the access to drinking water is going to be compromised, the access to food from this lake is going to be compromised. The rich biodiversity, which attracts tourism, is going to be compromised. So we have a number of issues whereby most people are going to be sent off from their jobs. Those in tourism industry, they are going to lose jobs because there is going to be a decrease in the number of tourists coming to this country. There is going to be a decrease in capture fisheries. So we expect that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Already in Malawi, we have a situation whereby we send a lot of casual laborers to neighboring countries like South Africa. Now we do expect that by virtue of exploiting our own lake, we shall increase the number of unemployed persons. As such, many people are going to lose employment, thereby infringing on their human rights. The issue of oil drilling in a freshwater like Lake Malawi is very crucial to the people of Malawi. This is because the oil drilling process is a process whereby the oil drilled in Lake Malawi is going to be sent abroad for refinery. It is not going to be refined in this country. As such, the benefits are very minimal to the people of Malawi in this area. Because even in terms of employment, we do not expect a lot of people to be employed in this sector. There is a need to know that the oil sector does not employ a lot of casual laborers. Because the issue here is drilling oil from underneath the lake and exporting it to another country, whereby there are only few individuals sitting in their companies' offices overseas somewhere else. Some clever person doing their work, monitoring the process. However, on the part of Malawi government, we do not have that required expertise. We saw a process in the north of Lake Malawi, a flood in Africa, whereby the government of Malawi did not have the required expertise. We saw a process which did not benefit Malawians at all. Now we are here continuing with a similar process which will not benefit Malawians at all. For instance, I would give an example of the Lake Tanganyika Authority. This is an overall body that manages and looks after Lake Tanganyika. When you go to Norway, you will find the Marine Protected Area Authorities, which do take in charge of all the operations within these marine areas. Now we are in Malawi, whereby we do not have an authority to promote and take control of any of the problems that would happen during this process of oil drilling. This is one of the only few lakes in the world whereby anyone can come from any other country and bring a boat and sail on the lake and go back without paying anyone. It's possible. So we do not have the measures. We do not have the authority over the entire lake. As such, there is a threat that the oil drilling companies would be in a position to pollute this lake without being responsible. Now this is a threat to the biodiversity and the people and the lives of the people of Malawi. By continuing with the process of oil drilling in Lake Malawi, there have been issues of the economic benefits analysis, whereby we're looking at options. Is oil drilling in Lake Malawi a sustainable economic development? Will it really benefit the people of Malawi? If oil drilling is compared to other sustainable economic initiatives that would be possible or they are feasible to be implemented along Lake Malawi from Kalonga to the south in Mangochi. Let's say if the government of Malawi is going to promote tourism by building a number of hotels, you would see a lot more people getting more employment. And there is a value chain to the tourism industry because there would be provision rather, of other services like maybe security, food, other amenities that are needed within the tourism industry, such as soap and others. So it is going to benefit quite a lot because there is that long value chain. Compared to oil drilling, in a freshwater like this one, at the same time the world is moving towards green energy, avoiding the use of fossil fuels. We've seen major industries, major companies like BP, Shell, failing to contain oil spillages. There have been a disgrace in the oil industry. And we have seen companies like Total getting committed not to drill oil in a World Heritage Site. However, in Malawi, we have companies which, according to the Attorney General's opinion in 2015, it indicated that these companies, which were awarded oil and gas licenses in Lake Malawi, were operating under a thin corporate veil. And this actually led to the suspension, to the banning of the oil drilling process in Lake Malawi. However, we are at a position whereby the ban has been lifted, but these issues have not been addressed. So we tend to question, will these companies be able to address major problems like oil spillages, like pollution? Will they be able to comply with environmental standards? Because in a normal setup, companies who are drilling oil in a freshwater lake, they are supposed to have technocrats in terms of those skilled with conservation techniques, ecologists, that would help in terms of conserving the marine biodiversity in the freshwater lake. Now, in a country like Malawi, we are failing to put these standards in place. We are failing to put these rules and regulations in place. Until then, this whole process, which has come through a back door, the oil drilling in Lake Malawi, would not be a legitimate process in this country because of these shortfalls. And we tend to lose quite a lot. Malawians are going to lose this freshwater lake. It is going to be unfortunate when this disaster happens in this particular lake. So we appeal to all those people of goodwill, to the government of Malawi and the people of goodwill, to make sure that they put conservation of Lake Malawi as a priority and resist from this greed of the multinational companies and a few politicians who tend to benefit from these oil deals. The people of Malawi must open up. They must see that this process is not legitimate. They need to contribute to the conservation of their land. They need to take responsibility and advocate and lobby for the government of Malawi to withdraw this process and ensure that right procedures and measures are taken in terms of the conservation of the lake for the next generation and the people of Malawi at present. It is the responsibility of the ordinary Malawian citizens to talk to their elected representatives, the ward councils, and the traditional leaders, and tell them that they are not happy with the process of oil drilling in Lake Malawi, such that these ordinary citizens, when they present their grievances to their leaders must present this to those in the duty bearers, those in power, those who are making decisions, that they should at least withdraw this process.